Namaste and a very warm welcome to all the cloud enthusiasts, their dreamers, and the community joining us from every part of the globe. I'm 𝗪𝗵𝗏 𝗨𝘀𝗀, you're one of the prime hosts for Cloud Brew, and I'm very beyond excited to welcome you all to this very special Cloud Brew session. Under the vibrant banner of 𝗬𝗔 User Group Ahmedabad, a place where curiosity meets innovation and ideas into action. Today's episode is not just like any other episode, let me tell you guys. It's a very front proceed to a journey that's equal passionate, purpose, and a lot of pure serendipity, if I have to say. Our this sixth theme is Voices Behind the Cloud, Story, Strategy, and as I said, serendipity from the AWS advocate himself is celebration of a human story beyond the technology that we love and build with. And we're incredibly lucky to have with us someone telling us his own story and kicking with this theme in a very vibrant manner. Seth, I'd love for you to kick the things off and tell our audience, like in your own words, who you are, what drives you every day, and what you believe in the wonderful world of cloud. So,
I understand you. Thank you. And then I say thank you for having me in your show as well. So I'm Seb. I'm 𝗪𝗵𝗏 advocate for AWS since the last 6 years. I started in 2019, but I'm at Amazon since 12 years, and I've been to a career in tech, 30 years in tech actually. I started working in 94.
that's a lot of time.
I saw different technology. When I start working, I like to tell that to students. When I start working, 𝗔𝗪𝗏 just in my hair. Super easy pantots. This feels like very old age. I'm a dinosaur.
Now, let me do the honors properly. For anyone who's ever followed a tech blog, turned into any AWS podcast, or just got to talk about and suddenly made you think about cloud computing, that most probably a good chances that Sebastian over here must have gone through it or was behind it. He's a principal developer at 𝗓𝗏𝗏 and a storyteller with a soul, a strategist with a mission, and a true champion of builders around the world. From turning complex cloud concepts into accessible narratives to lighting up stages and screen across the globe, Sebastian weighs here a rare blend of technical brilliance and the communication to everyone. And before we
I'm a bit too blush, but let's stop there.
But before we dive into our very core conversation, let's break the ice for Sen. Before we get into the whole chat, just tell us a quick fun fact about you that maybe not a lot of people might know about.
I was the host of a radio show. I was DJ on a musical radio station when I was in my 20s. Saturday, Sunday mornings, saying, "Hello, good day." Yeah. I did that for almost 10 years, between like 50 to 24. Yeah. So if I was not working in tech, I would probably work in media and radio.
See that is it
No, no, exactly. There was no YouTube at the time. There was no video. It was radio, SM radio.
You know the things that you from last century. But yes, I have some recording at home on tips, not tips.
ridiculous, very soon.
But it was, yes, a radio contact is a radio, national radio station network. Using it for your own with your music in Belgium, in country.
Oh my god, that's like a very fun fact.
It's a hungry podcast.
Now I get it why you are such a pro. Okay, so is that a way for me to look down into media world to learn the
To do podcast, yes, it
Helps a lot because you have a sense of life, you have a sense of rhythm, you articulate how you talk, being gunsy. So yes, helps.
So that was a very fun fact for our viewers. Now, going back to the technical sections. Okay, Seth, thinking back to your very early days exploring cloud technology, what specific AWS service or concept initially sparked your curiosity or made you think the potential of this platform? Like, what's your origin story of engagement with AWS?
With AWS, I was working for another big tech company, a US one with a logo, the three letters. And
we have a constant need to find machine to create a proof of concept or demo for our customer, because we need Linux, we need a database, we need application server. If you remember what's an application server, and all these type of quite heavy software. It was quite difficult to run that on virtual machine on our laptop, especially the laptop at the time. We didn't have 32 GB of memory like Jackie might get now. And one day, one of my colleagues said, "Hey, but Amazon has this thing called 𝗏𝗏2. Maybe we can start a virtual machine there, and instead of deploying this complex piece of software on our laptop, we can have it running on Amazon." So we asked our manager, "We can expand that company credit card or something?" He said yes. And for me, it was an eye-opening moment. I said, wow, I can get all compute power I want. I just need to pay. But the limit is my credit card. The limit is not my laptop anymore. And I suddenly understand, because I was in companies selling hardware in so many years. We were selling the equipment for data center. Suddenly I realized, well, data centers are dead. With this thing coming, everybody will join to that, and that's the end of the 𝗫𝗵𝗶 data center. And that was quite early. It was before I joined Amazon, so it was like, so maybe 10, something like that. 12 maximum. Yeah, at the time it was 𝗪𝘂. It was EBS, S3, SQS, autoscaling, cyclopath, so was the no more than that. Was good.
It's like you have seen the early pages.
As a user, the very beginning, I'll tell you something. But first time I started the 𝗏𝗏2 instance on AWS, EP it exists. So the way to boot an instance, there was no persistent storage. There was only ephemeral storage that still exists on some instances. So the way to prepare the machine was to prepare the disk image on your laptop, to slice it in chunks of 510 MB or something, upload all the chunks on a string, create a small manifest file saying, okay, the first show me that, blah, blah, and give that to the EC2 API to start the machine. And then EC2 was taking the chunks from S3 and bushing. And yes, it but exists. If you save a file locally, shut down your instance, you can just retrieve your file after. So that was really gear. It's
You are like talking about I have not seen it. And I can understand this. I have probably seen it like the last 2 years or something, but I have not even heard this kind of thing from even the previous people.
another fun fact. At the time, all the services were available in the console as tabs. So you have a tab for C2, or there was LTS over a tab for RDS, tab for load balancer, a tab for auto space. So I'd imagine now we have more than 300 spinning out of tabs.
But that actually tells us how tech evolves. Like how convenient it is to us right now. But where it started, it took a lot of trial and errors forever.
Iteration and understand customer needs and iterate based on customer needs. When AWS started, I was not there at the time. The cloud, it was very first service announced was SQS, and everybody has why this retail company from Seattle is selling a queue. What can I do with an asynchronous queue alone? If nothing else. Then S3 came, the 𝗏𝗏2 came, load balancer, RDS, and only start to get a critical feature of what you can do with this.
It's quite a basic origin story also. Okay, so, this is now I'll take you more towards Gen Z to us. Right now, when we ask, kids to wake up and, like we grow up, we realize, okay, maybe this is well, and intuition goes, well, this is what we like in tech and LP tech. We kind of navigate towards that. But there are times where, we'll suck also. Like, we do not know if we want to continue with tech. We want to be in that. Given that, thinking back to when you first started exploring technology, okay, or anything in general, which initially captured your imagination and you wanted to pursue a career in this field or tech in general.
Yeah, career, I don't know, but I remember when I first saw a personal computer at the time. It was Commodore 64. So it's a British, I don't know, it was like a personal computer that you can get in your home, connect to the TV. I had to fight with my mom. Tricks to TV, I went to put the computer. And the first time I saw that was at the friends and neighbor place, one. And there was a smaller book with the instruction for basic running, what's a variable, a loop, a if, and we spend the whole evening trying to develop small application programs or algorithm, whatever you call them, to do basic things like a game where you choose a private number and you have to guess the random number that the computer should use. And I opened my eyes and I said, wow, I can tell that machine what to do. And for me, that was a light bulb moment, saying, okay, I can write things that tell a machine what to do. I can be the commander of that machine, and I love that IP. And yet, this is how I saw programming is. I bought one and finally I saw the key. They managed to buy one, and I spent a lot of time programming. Pay also at the time, so we changed games at school. But yes, that was my beginning of running 𝗏𝗏 𝗨𝘀𝗧.
So, the younger audience that is watching us, and they are, skeptical about which field to choose. Do you think then if you're like had an intake for 𝗏𝗏 do you think any intake like that can be that pursue a career in tech?
Even more now because you learn to buy expensive machines. The 𝗏𝗏 at times were expensive, even for little cast a fairly still a budget. And now you can start creating your code in Lambdas, for example, most about free. If it is just you pay to learn, and that will cost you $0. So you can code, you can destroy your code, you can do the websites for less than 1 year per month. So it lowers the barriers of entries. And yes, there is in tech. If you ask me, I'm totally biased. Come on, look at the world around us. Everything is software. There is camera over there. There is software. There is light bulbs here. There are probably software someone to control that. So we will need more and more software engineers. The future, more security of some, and with the advent of machine learning and AI, or data engineers as well. So we sure about one thing, that the world, the demands of computer skills in general really creates.
That's quite fast from Seb itself. Now, given that your expertise stands across AWS domains, when you look at the current cloud landscape, what are the 1 or 2 emerging architecture paths on AWS that you find particularly innovative or strategically important for developers understand? Why?
If more developers, I have also a zero station. Serverless. Go serverless, learn principle of architecture for serverless. I already mentioned Lambda. Serverless P2X. Of course, it doesn't mean that there is no server. There is no magic. Your code is not running in the air somewhere in the cloud. No, but there are servers, of course. But you are not responsible to manage this server. And on one side, I have to manage a server. School only path, maybe because for a different question, installing Linux once in your life, what it is in 𝗏𝗏. But as a developer, most of the time we don't care about that. If you want to run a code, that's pretty much you will see that 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 for us. So spending time spawning EC2 instance, installing patch, installing runtime, I need to install that type, not allow that your server code. Yes, there is no added value for that. With Lambda, you can fully spill code, your business program on the things you want to create, to deploy it. Someone else will manage these low-level things, such as installing Java and making sure there is a server that runs. And you can have a free application that runs the server with no server. Your database, that MongoDB, you have containers if you want to with ECS, with Lambda. You don't need a server anymore. So, yes, none. The principle of serverless, we talk about this 3 as storage. It's serverless storage. We don't manage the Q13 system. Learn how asynchronous application can work, sending message across even trigger tag of application. I think that's the way to be quickly, fast, solutions that are secure, reliable, scalable. I can see it on site for serverless. Yes, maybe one, the logic, there is a bit of logic of compared to the old way of doing things. But when we talk to students or the young generation, they didn't know the old way. So they are back really. They take the new thing, serverless, as granted. That's the normal way to do. I guess please get used to.
Okay. For someone aspiring to become a developer advocate, focusing on 𝗨𝑚𝑗s, what are the foundational technical skills or a specific AWS service knowledge that you would consider absolute crucial? What strategic mindset or approach of learning would set them apart that you think?
Technical, I think that everything can be learned. I am ready to hire a developer advocate in my team that are not expert in AWS because it can be learned. If you learn 1 or 2 things, you can learn 5 or 10 and then deal 100. It's a matter of time in coaching and I think levers. So the challenge to recruit good developer advocates in my team is not tech. Yeah, of course, there has to be a key. Yes, but to be able to code, you to be able to be on the stage in front of 100 person or 1,000 person to did a demo and run a demo, present slides and tell a story. Be able to write a blog post, to be able to do what you're doing now, presenting a show in front of a video or an audio or podcast, for example.
That's such an unexpected one. I did not think you would say a sauce skin out of everyone.
There are a lot of super good technical people. Okay, but there is only a subset of them that are also good communicators. Usually, the intersection between good technical people and good communicator, it's an anti-set. So we need to find 2 people that are there in the middle that like to explain, like to, it's not being the sunlight, it's not that. It's really have a passion to share, to learn, to teach, to share the enthusiasm and try to do it in an effective way because there where we need to do short video, long video, audio, books and everything. So it's more a soft skill. But yes, to go back to your original question, everybody in my team, it's geeky. We all have stories like mine of early age programming, like to write code, like to experiment, be curious.
So your own thing is, I would want anybody in my team, just a good communicator and just someone who is ready to explore.
Yes, with one nuance, a good communicator, but still someone that has that geeky mindset.
Yeah, able to explore all that is one step. Do you think, like, if they, there is a fear, like, okay, I might be not good in this at tech, or, and I might not have that much technical expertise in this, but, I'm ready to, would that person be approached more easier with this?
If the person has no specific experience,
No, I do.
okay, it can be. So you have one person that has a specific experience in one domain.
Yeah.
It's the more you know, the less the onboarding or learning part that will take time. So yes, it's more efficient for us as a company to hire someone who is already an expert on AWS than someone which is not. Yes, let's face it. If 2, I don't tell good communicator profile. One is an expert for AWS with 12 AWS certification, golden jacket, and one worked with another system. Yeah, I think which was the point that knows AWS. But
So yeah, just because you're a good communicator does not mean that
it's not
the whole thing. You need to be an expert, have an expertise in AWS survey.
I think in one domain you get the experts and everything. I'm not expert in everything. Like 2 years ago, GenAI was but there, and so they did not exist. And now we are paired on being expert sometimes means you get 2 months experience more.
Okay. So coming to another question, consider your technical tech across the different AWS services. What are some common anti-patterns or strategic missteps you often see developers making on AWS? And what advice do you would like to offer to steer them towards more robust solutions? Let's just say it's a myth-busting question.
Yeah. I think it's more coming from the enterprise than the individual, but in enterprise, what we can observe most of the time, often, is developer engineers that are treating the cloud as an on-premise data center. And they try to replicate everything they know and they do for the last 20 years from their data center to the clouds. And it will work. AWS and the other cloud provider, we have flexible enough to heal, but it's not the cloud. We don't get the scalability, we don't get the flexibility. And it probably will cost you all amount of money. And that's the people that after we say, hey, AWS is so expensive. So there is a way to embrace the cloud as well. And to, for example, if we go back to virtual machine, but not even talking about serverless, at the idea that a virtual machine is something which is short-lived that can do it and be configured automatically, where you install the package 𝗕𝗏𝗏 register to the load balancer automatically. And if it dies, it's a non-D event, it's normal, it dies. Another one will be spin up automatically by autoscaling. And that other one will also install a configure except on automatically. Once you get that level of automation, and then you realize the power of the cloud, because that's something you can do with on-premise. So do the tricks. The cloud as on-premise data center is different. And of course, if you go to serverless, as I said before, then you're not treating the cloud as on-premise, contextual serverless site, on-premise data center. But if you still use virtual machines and more classical infrastructure, do not replicate what you're doing on local. Another example is customer that wants to have firewall between their domain because inside the data of the inside her had a sweet test in your eyes. Well, yes, and to route all the traffic through a firewall, a physical appliance, or no pubs or appliance. When we tell you no, you don't need that with 𝗕𝗏𝗏 T-group. It's as effective. But sometimes, companies, compliance, rules to follow, and they blindly follow the rules without questioning the rules.
That's quite unique. That's a bit for the circuit test. A core part of your strategy, involves engaging with the developer community, right? What's your unique approach to understanding the challenges and translating those into an actionable insights for AWS services? What is your secret sauce for that effective engagement?
That's if you want, but there are so many different small aspects. So you're right, part of my board is to work with committees, be it summits or meetups or community days, and listen, talk with the person, listen on the person, and try to summarize common pain points, coming again and again and again, and bring that back is 𝗪𝗏𝗏, and then try to use our internal muscle to make a sales team move, which is not always easy. That's what my team is doing. The reason why I insist it's because most of the time the sales team receive requests from paying customer, like large enterprise. If a large enterprise says, hey, we currently spent, it's within the number on that service, if there that feature. The sales team would then prioritize that feature, vetted the feature asked by the developer that are not bringing direct revenue. But I'm sure that on the long term, it's important to listen to the developers as well. But at the end, they are making a lot of choices. They are very prescriptive. Or if they are unprescriptive, they can be a real blocker. It's like not with specific module. So it's important to gather all these small segments that we can hear and try to consolidate them. And with globalité, with 𝗪𝗏𝗏, America, North America, Europe, South Africa. And there are common key coming there. Try to per default.
Let us be a 𝗕𝗏𝗏𝗏.
Well, we try to make in the word developer advocates, we are the advocate for the developer inside the company. So we go to the servicing, say, that user experience, that developer experience is stereo. Don't release that now. It's about, and that's what we do. We do it, but that's the invisible part of the iceberg, because the visible part is there is some podcast or in my blogs, or you see me delivering a tour. So that's like free 30% of the job, or the rest is intermediary.
So it's just at the tip of the iceberg that you see most.
Does that not?
Was there a very particular AWS service or feature that you initially overlooked or even didn't fully appreciate, but later you discovered and its profound impact in a very unexpected way? And that made you very, gave you separate realization. Was there any service?
Very recently, 2 years ago or a year ago, Amazon Deploy. I was not a big fan of GenAI and large language model. I play like everybody with ChatGPT because released like 2 years and a half ago. And at the time, I took the analogy, it's like a drunk assistant, but no more valuable than that. And how can that change the world? Well, I'm not going to change the world with that. And then they release another Dellbox thing, okay, this and then command API to talk to many different models. That's already a bit better, but
It's not going to change my life. And today, I have to admit, I'm not using Bedrock entirety every day, but the set is that I'm using every day use Bedrock PMC. I'm using another 𝗔𝗪𝗃𝗀 CLI to help me to code, to help me to use GitHub, to help me to debug, for me to write tests, write every. And this thing use Bedrock, and there are so many customer applications as well by using Bedrock to really change the user experience when you put a dedicated way. So happy test the had Bedrock use the bit here.
So yeah, you can have your biases for AWS and the AWS service, right, in gen. But I think what I love, one you just right said it, that you can overlook it and work to it, and you can realize the potets are that I see a lot of people sometimes don't do that. So that is also a very good learning curve.
Yeah, what's important is to be able to realize your still levels are the biggest able and some humans. Again, I'm after what I said, a big 𝗑𝗵𝗵𝗀𝗀𝗍, and even if you classify something as a be honest with yourself when it's time to say, okay, that thing, the gene should start all time.
God. So I would say we have covered a lot of art questions and a lot of intellectual questions are with very intellectual answers. I'm like, wow. So let's change the gears for a few minutes and let's have a very rapid fire for what I would like to call Cloud9 quick takes. So the game is very simple. I'll give you a short clue and to a word or a short phrase related to any take or your experience, and you have to just give me the first thought like how I goes. Okay. Do not think about it, just say that.
I still had to see that's all PRT woman. My widgets.
Okay, let's just make a very
Sculpted.
yeah. AWS is a good.
Fantastic, the house of the community. We need. I should talk about this group of house.
Yeah, so
It's so a vibrant community of passionate people. I love to go to the group and to read you everything from part of the world. Yeah, that's why I was.
wait, you were perfect. Now, second one is serverless in one word.
Do it. Adopt it.
Your favorite 8 episodes.
Oh, that's good wish. Wow.
But let us
Good. There are people. I love London, right? And that's very recent. It's a national love story between Amazon Q developer CLI and myself.
okay, a very fun moment from a tech conference.
Embarrassing moments sometimes. Someone that stand up in the audience and start to trash talking about Amazon. Why will I use that thing from an American company that is treating this employee? Maria, sorry, I'm here to talk about serverless.
That would be a very mobilized. What do I know?
We are truthful, that's yes.
Yeah, of the biggest misconception about being a developer at
That I will spend my time conference in the 𝗵𝗶𝗰 at the airport. We spend a lot of time internally writing docs, speakings. Yeah. So the 𝗘𝗏𝗀𝗃 are just
a piece of advice here, if you're younger said, and
Were you me? Oh, don't do that. I can elaborate a bit. At the end of my secondary school, I actually showed up the path up to university. I told my parents I want to work in media. I want to do radio and about video editing, things like that. Said no, choose a real job first. And okay, I love computing as well, so I went to computing, and I don't regret. I really love my job. But now, with the job at computing and hosting 2 texts, one in French, one in English, producing 4 episodes per month, so I managed to catch up with 𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗀𝗏. Easy and my validation. Kobe is almost professional.
I feel no knowledge I do not get ever resource. It's when you have a circle round of moment one time. Like that is your circle moment, I feel. So you go to productivity hack.
Another Q developer CLI for developers is fantastic.
The next big thing in cloud computing, your bridge.
You don't watch this video 10 years, please. No, it's more severely, more managed, so less visibility on the lower layer of what we consider as the low level plumbing inside data center, storing a machine inside a rack, plugging the cable, it's appeared already. The next level, which is storing Linux and touching Linux and everything, is disappearing right now because more and more of us we are using like abstraction layer, sometimes a service or lambda. So I think there will be more abstraction, very up the layer, and opening the world of writing code to more people thanks to Gen AI. Almost anybody can now write small applications, small scripts. We don't need to be a software engineer. And that's a fantastic opportunity because the world is lacking in software. In my opinion, there are services that we can automate, that we can make easier. I saw the other day someone in a noted that was writing from one listing to another listing manually. Come on. Can you write the script for that? And because tools like 𝗪𝗪𝗪 and others are the vendors as well, it lowers the barrier to entry for Ocker.
Okay, your favorite coding match? 3. Oh. One surprising habit of in that even like wipe out.
One surprising habit, me, I like to wake up super early in the morning, listen to the use of the radio and the period radio, that's adding a bit of coffee in the half large moments of the game. It's right here, your voice is stay quiet.
Right, is it 4, 5, 8?
I depend where I usually really that's on the season. In winter it might be 8, 9. In summer it might be 10.
What do you think of cloud tool so far?
So far, all people give it up. But I see the radio goes really well.
Yeah, comment for everybody.
Everybody, all the ones that are behind camera has that.
Okay, now coming back to our against questions.
Yeah, tomorrow it's.
Engaging with the global 𝗘𝗏 community activity often leads to unforeseen connections. Can you share a very serendipitous, like a very, lovely moment or encounter at the 𝗕𝗏 that significantly influenced your perspective or opened a new door in your career with the 𝗘𝗏 ecosystem?
Yeah, I opened the door of my career at. I know the type of moments usually come almost an answer to your question is it happens to me that I meet people in a comfort and they come to say hello and thank you. Say, why thank you, Tzvi? And they answer, it's because I saw your talk like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, or I saw a video of you. And at that point I understand or understood that or that technology, or you give me it's there to work tech, and now I'm working tech, and it's a bit aridicum sentiment. It's a bit because of a video of yours. And that's a really, really rewarding moment. It's small moments where you realize that you can actually pass the Bible. Or Peter for Mont, that's really great.
Before we even started this, I told you, right? I just glad through your that studio and I was see videos and everything. And I was like genuinely so awed by you. So, people up here and telling you might, it just actually, you meant them so much, I feel. And you must have empowered them so many because I felt so empowered looking at your YouTube.
And it's not only it's the whole team. Here I am in front of you, to where I'm 40, another person in the world, and my colleagues in the same moments as well with their audience, with their specific communities or groups of technology. And so that's one of the lucky aspects of the area. Maybe to expand a bit on your question as well. When I had the chance to meet students in countries that are, how can I say that when we meet customer usable people that are in Europe, I feel like sometimes they take technology for granted and they said, yeah, it's 𝗕𝗏𝗪𝗪. But when I go to, I went last year to Africa, and I met a lot of students, and they were so passionate and so eager to learn. And they had so many questions. How can I get started? How can I learn? How can I prepare for my first certification? And they were so grateful that we came as a team to reach them. you realize there is a huge untapped potential of taps. Good persons, great brains that just want to work and to learn and to share. We had tons of questions also about how to create a user group, how can I create my own YouTube channel, and we try to head them to mentor them, to empower people to do that. So that's also another moment that I really like, but that we don't have in countries where the club is more litigious, considered as starlet.
That's a really sweet thing that you said. This actually says a lot about accountability as well as being appreciative of what it. This Caesar rate could spare. Now, coming to a bit of a hardcore question for this is a question that we kept on hearing from our audience, and we first, revealed kind of that you were gonna be in the podcast. So, the path to becoming a 𝗕𝗵𝗵 principal developer advocate is likely not a straight line, for sure. What unexpected terms or seemingly underrated experiences in your journey ultimately proved to be a surprisingly valuable in your current role at 𝗓𝗏? What hidden gems from your past did you leverage?
When I first applied for a job at the US, it was for developer advocate.
At the time we said 𝗓𝗏𝗀𝗃𝗃 evangelist, like that, and it was, so I passed at US in 2013, so it was 2011, I told you 2010, I used EC2, 2011 I first applied script to have a draw board of matches. And I miserably spent the first phone interview, Kugaga asked me to, okay, and so it was no. Okay. Then 1 year later, I saw, there is another job there. It's solution architect. It was the first solution architect in Europe. So I went a bit further away. I passed the full screen. Then I was invited in the 𝗏𝗏𝗀 Europe for a full day of interviews, as we were doing at the time. And I managed to do all the interviews, but they chose someone else at the end, so I failed a second time. And then I changed job. I went to another company. I said, okay, Amazon, it's finished for me. But still, I was still looking at the job listing. And then one day I saw a technical trainer, first technical trainer in Europe, EMEA. I said, okay, it's roughly the same. It's about sharing that passion in front of an audience. I already delivered a bit of class for previous companies, so why not? I applied. Guess what? I got the job. So I became the first technical trainer in Europe, Italy. I travel in all the countries, deliver our tech class at the beginning, and then drop her 𝗓𝗏𝗃𝗃 since we had more and more class. So lesson learned, never give up. Keep patient. It's quite hard to enter. Not only bar is quite high, but once you're inside, it's quite easy to change. I moved from technical trainer, then I became solution architect, not for AWS, for Alexa. The process is taunted, but the time we launched Alexa in Germany, in UK, I moved to UK for that job. I reached to 𝗵𝗵𝗀𝗀 for that job. And then suddenly they opened up jobs as developer advocate. And it was in France as a manager at that time says, hey, Seth, you still want to be a developer advocate? We are searching for someone who is able to speak French. Are you interested? If I'm interested, yes, I'm waiting for this job since 10 years. So I went in 2019, and I'm still so unexpectedly.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, when you said about the second interview, I was like, yeah, you got. And then you were like, I failed. That's quite a curve.
And that's my advice for people that want to apply at Amazon. It's don't keep you might be rejected 1, 2, 3 times. Try again, different roles, different sort of seniority, different team, maybe different country if you're there. You will get it.
That's a really good point. Now, your profile highlights expertise at Python, Node.js, Swift, and serverless technologies. How do you develop proficiency in such a diverse set of skills, and how do you stay current with the ever-evolving tech landscape?
I would not qualify myself as current. I told you at the beginning, working in the industry quite a long time. I know Java since the very beginning of Java. I was once a Java expert, but I did touch Java now since 10 years, so not current anymore with Java. I like to do, stay curious when there is something that but to industry players. That's a very good example. Programming for iPad or iOS in general, but
𝗪𝗪𝗀𝗀𝗃𝐶, I learned 𝗪𝗪𝗀𝗃𝐶 because I wanted to create 𝗪𝗂𝗪 education. I then switched up here and say, oh yeah, and then I realized, it's like it is 𝗪𝗪𝗀𝗃𝐀 that and that, so I started to dive a bit deeper, spend a bit more time. But it's about learning something new every day and practicing, because just being curious is not enough. You need to dive a bit deeper to become an expert. I tend to not be expert and listen, because but the advice, and often when students ask if I advise, sometimes they don't over specialize in one specific technology. Look at all the people that's over specialized in Bitcoin or LFC. What are they doing now? So you might have a feel of preference. I love serverless, I love mobile, I love Swift, but it's super important to have very good foundation. This network security, programming language in general. If you know programming language in general, if you learn about the program, learning a new one is not super complicated. So have a good foundation and stay curious to learn enough to be seen from both sides as an expert. I don't consider myself as an expert. Exactly. In club, I know a bit of clouding, yes, but I was doing that the last 4 years. Generally speaking, cloud is, I understand quite. I'm not an expert in light. When you switch a programming language during the day, you're not writing like geometric code in that specific language, and someone that is doing only that language would say, how about you? These pipelines, you can write that in one line. But yes, okay.
Now, the topic of our interview touches on stories. You're a technical author for 𝗪𝗪𝗀𝗀𝗀 blog and newsletter, and a podcaster. What draws you to these mediums for sharing information and connecting with the developer community?
I love to share. I like to share 𝗪𝗪𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀. Hey, look at that new technology I found. Look what you can do, and share that to say. So podcasting, it's obvious now that I fixed, and I love radio. I want to be free. Like iPhone, do that. So podcasting was, even if I was not doing it for AWS, I would find a way to do that on the side as a side project for a project. Newsblog is also something that I do since I stopped working. Actually, I remember someone in one of my very first role and first company say, why do you want to publish on purpose over something that will last? Who is going to be 𝗪𝗪𝗀𝗪? Okay, no. Because of time, it's more focused. But again, it's sharing it the knowledge. And it's two very different the way you approach a conversation. You totally know, or writing something that's very, very different. I know in part of the AWS Newsblog team, because this is the blog where we announce new services. Hey, today I'm preparing to announce that new service or a new region. And it's funny because people, to write this code, we work with the entire service team. There are like 10 people that are reviewing, providing feedback. But at the end, it's my name, which is under the title of the blog post. And people send the message after, sometimes years after, hey, I wrote that blog, I have that 𝗪𝗪𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀 there. And my answer is always the same. Sorry, I'm not an expert then, because I can write someday a tracker about the day on an advanced networking feature. So we learn just enough, and we test and we play hands-on in the console with the abilities. We should that we understand it all set. But I'm definitely not an expert on everything I'm bragging about. But this blog post, it's a lot of visibility. I have an angle from Raindax conference in Las Vegas. There was a coffee queue. You do the queue, but really a line. There is a line for everything in Las Vegas. So I was waiting for my 𝗪𝗪𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀. There is a guy from Korea, he thought of food, from Seoul. He saw my name on the badge. Oh, you're the best. That writes the dopest. Oh, can I take a picture? So just to tell you the reach of this blog post, yeah, I do it. At one period of time, it was 𝗔𝗪𝗪 chief evangelist is still there, but the number of posts, the number of subs that I need to cover are bigger and bigger and bigger. So we hire 3 people from my team to write his blog post, to have 10 writers on the blog.
Do you have any memorable story from your writing?
From?
For writing for 𝗪𝗪𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀? Any memorable story for news blog or anything?
Things that are totally unexpected, like you receive a request on Monday saying, hey, we have that _𝗪𝗪𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀, Let me take a very practical example. Like a year ago, 2 years ago, we announced that if you decide to leave AWS, you see why we would do that, but my friend, then you will not pay the egress network traffic. So the bandwidth to migrate all your data somewhere else. In order to conduct normal operation, you pay for that. But if you want to quit AWS, you terminate your account and it will be for free. I will receive like a request in the morning on Monday. Say, hey, this is coming live on Wednesday. Can you write a blog post? Yes. So I start to write the blog post. The deep blog post are very sensitive on the messaging with be correct word. So it is reviewed by clear, like seniors, something, and everybody was providing feedback about. So it's really not changing that. So it was two very intense days with that blog post rate. And it happens almost every day now with that rock, and there is a chance on the go. We did learn it 1 week before hey, next week we need a new one there. Can you write a blog post? Yes, can I have access to the others to test it, to play with it, to write code? No, not before 24 hours before the blog post is signed. Then we do our best.
But now, finally coming to the last question, because I would love to keep hearing you on and on and on, but I just we don't come out for sure. So, finally, what's one piece of unconventional wisdom you have picked up along the way that you would think would be valuable for others?
Young developers have a social responsibility and two different abilities. One of them is more for the front-end people to create that applies to dashboards, to create systems that are easy to use. How many times are you're an IT professional, you know the computer system. How many times are you struggling with a stupid form that doesn't accept something, an error message that doesn't mean anything? But we all, you developers, we can change that. Please create systems for humans so that my mom can use. And we have a collective responsibility as 80% to make IT more inclusive, more diverse, more approachable, easier to use. That's our first efforts. And the second one, we have a responsibility for the planet. Storing data costs money. Using generative AI cut off us of electric and water to cool down the data center. So be responsible with the technologies of your UI. If you can make your application run 50 milliseconds faster and that piece of code is run 1 million times a day, that's a lot of CPU cycle that you can avoid. And you have the power in your hands to avoid. Do you really need to store data or the logs forever? The good thing on AWS, it has a cost. So maybe you will not do it for the cost. But if you're not on AWS, maybe you say, okay, if it's there, it doesn't cost anything, so I just store the data. Use ARM CPU instead of CC4 CPU. Better price performance ratio. It's good for your wallet, for your credit card, but it's good for the planet as well. So we connected here as these authors. We have a responsibility for the help to the planet as well by the choices that we are making. Small choice, a bit of performance there, a bit less storage there because of networking. No GenAI for these things that I can call with a classical algorithm, a wild really, if condition. And if everybody thinks about that when bracket dots, then they can mix that with speeds better.
That's a really, really noble way to end this. That sums up everything that we today discussed about your role, your vision, and I'm pretty much sure our audience was really able to grasp you as a person. What you stand for, what is a vision, what you want to bring for the next people. So, you're truly, truly honored to have you here. I had the time of my life. I wish I could go on so long time.
So to us.
When I got it back, just something like when I put it back, we get. So yeah, that is with us said. If you have any more questions regarding Seb or what, like any more you want to after hearing this podcast, you want to know about him, so they should join question you at where.
Yeah, I'm seeing. Here's my name probably on the podcast app or the YouTube. Search my name on the 𝗪𝘁𝗂𝗪𝗁.
And that's it. We are signing out from Cloud. Bye.
Okay, start.
1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 1, 2.
Okay.